some footage of it. So terrible now.
What's up, Sheehan? Oh, gosh. And hello to everyone out there. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Deep Thoughts. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's doing okay. Hope everyone's good and healthy and all that good stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Are we still saying that? Do we still care? I don't know. Welcome back. It's a beautiful day. You're gonna have to get down. It's a beautiful day today. Stop. No. Jeez, man. Tell you what. It's always getting bothered. Anyways, we're not redoing this. Some of these episodes might be a little bit shorter, though. Especially as I'm trying to get them out quicker. So this one might be like a half hour. Doing this before work, so take a little time to do a little deep thoughts. And yeah, I don't know why I am tarrying so much. Why am I hesitating? Today we're talking about a great passion of mine, or at least once was, and still kind of is. But it used to be a much bigger passion of mine, and that is skateboarding. Yeah, dude. Yeah, today I wanted to talk about skateboarding. Another phase of my life that was very important, I guess, is very impactful. One of those things that just kind of made me who I am today. Something that I used to obsess over a lot, just like I do with anything else I get into nowadays. Anytime I get into something, I obsess over it. When I get into something, I get into it. I've always told myself that there's got to be a little bit of autism up there or something. Just the way I get into certain things, how weird and, like I said, obsessed I get about it. But at least skateboarding, that was a healthy thing I was really into, just like martial arts and exercise. This was actually all around the same time. So yeah, let's talk about skateboarding, man. It was such a big part of my life, and I'm older now, and unfortunately the thing happened to me that I always said when I was like 17, 16, that would never happen to me. I was like, I don't care how old I get, man. I'm always going to be a skateboarder. I'm always going to be a skateboarder. I'm always going to, shred, boy. No matter how old I am, I'll be 47 skateboarding. And, didn't take too long, right around when I turned about 18 or 19. It just started to die down real quick. Due to various reasons. We'll talk about it. But first, maybe let's talk about how I got into skateboarding. Because skateboarding is one of those things that if you knew me as a child, you would never think I would get into. I think, besides the way I dress sometimes, a lot of people would never look at me and see a skateboarder. Ever. I remember in a college communications class, oral communications class, that I did horrible in, we all had to write certain things about us on like a piece of paper and then mix them up in a hat or something, whatever. Everyone draws it. They pick that piece of paper and they try to guess who it's about. And one person's was a computer nerd. They picked a computer nerd, and so they picked out of the hat, like, computer nerd. You looked right at me. And I wasn't looking too steezy that day, boy. I tell you, I really wasn't. I was rocking my glasses because I didn't have my contacts at the time. I had like these short shorts on. I did look like a computer nerd probably, and maybe I still do sometimes. But I know way more about sports and skateboarding and things like that than computers. Let me tell you. I'm rocking the same computer I've been rocking since 2012. These speakers. I've never bought another pair of speakers in my life. I've never bought a pair of speakers in my life. These speakers were dug out of a dumpster back in like 2007, and they still kick. I'm telling you, they still rock. I'm not into all the latest tech stuff, and I'm really not as nerdy, except for maybe video games and stuff, as people might think. But I always remember that hurt a little bit, because I think I did write skateboarder or something on there, and nobody looked at me as a skateboarder. So, and if you knew me as a little kid, you would say the same thing. You'd be so surprised to, I'm sure there's maybe people who knew me when I was a wee lad who, like we all do this, right? We look up people we haven't seen in like 10, 20 years on Facebook or something, see what they look like, see how much weight they gained, see how much weight they lost, see what drugs they've got into. And if you were to look at me dressing in skinny jeans and hat backwards and skate shoes and stuff, people would probably be like, whoa, I didn't see that one coming. So I got into skateboarding around 2007, kind of. I lived in California. Actually, you can go back to 2006. The first time I ever wanted to get a skateboard was because of, and this, is an upcoming video as well. It was because of Jackass, the TV show. Me and my friend got really into Jackass, and a lot of them were doing stunts with skateboards, and a lot of them were skateboarders. And so my idea was to get a skateboard so we could do more funny stunts, because those were the first videos I ever made, ever. We uploaded them to Google Video because YouTube was like barely a thing. And we created a series called Little Jackass. I'll talk about this more in another episode. But it does connect because I wanted to get my own skateboard. My friend, who we were making videos with, did have some kind of big, large, goofy-looking skateboard that we used for stunts. But I ended up moving anyways before I could get my first skateboard. But we moved to California, where skateboarding was everywhere, of course. And that motivated me more, I think, to look online for a skateboard. And so I did. And I knew nothing about skateboarding. I went to eBay and looked up skateboards. And there was this company that I think was like brand new at the time, and they were selling skateboards for cheap. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. They were called Crown Skateboards, I believe, with a K. Crown Skateboards. This is going to be nostalgic, boy. I don't know why I don't ever position myself correctly. Let's see if they're still a thing, bro. I think so, yeah. Crown Skateboards for $40, $50. Way radder designs now than they did. These look pretty cool, actually. I don't know if they have a team or anything, but that's amazing. Wow. I'm getting, man. I bet you can't even find the skateboard that I had. I don't even think I could find pictures of it, but I could describe it to you. It was the bottom of the deck was blue, and I remember when I looked it up, skateboards, it was nothing but Crown Skateboards coming up on eBay, because I think that, like I said, they were like a new company, and they all pretty much looked the same. They all had a crown and a skull on it, like a skull with a crown on it, I believe. This is totally drawing from memory. Where is that skateboard? I wonder if my dad has it. My dad kept my broken skateboards to like hang on the walls and stuff. Oh yeah, coffee, people, coffee. We're drinking Honduran blend. Might be just single origin, actually. Just Honduran coffee from Akaska. If you're in the St. Joseph, Missouri area, check them out. They roast their own coffee and everything. It's good stuff. That is a fine coffee, boy. Kind of coffee that just slaps you in the face and says, and you want to say thank you, that kind of coffee. Anyways, there's a Dark Star board. I never got the Dark Star. Anyways, so ask my dad or somebody, like, hey, can I buy this $40 skateboard off eBay? I picked the blue one, and And, they said, yeah, I don't know if it's for a birthday present or something maybe, but so got my skateboard delivered. It was a whole complete. I couldn't tell you what the wheels and trucks were on it or anything like that. And that was my first skateboard. And I taught myself to ride the skateboard, and that was pretty much it. At first, I really didn't get that into it. Every once in a while, I'd take it outside and just ride on the sidewalks, But I didn't try to do any tricks or anything at this time. The jackass thing was done with because I moved, and I was focused on other stuff. I didn't really hang out with, some of my friends skateboarded, but it didn't appeal to me. It really didn't. Like tricks and stuff like that didn't appeal to me. I still had never seen a single skate video, but lo and behold, this would set up a path for me. So we ended up moving a year later, in 2008, to Missouri, where I am now. I just doxed myself. Yeah, well, nobody's going to see this, except for friends and family. Or listen to this. And I still have that Crown skateboard. And when I moved here to Missouri, and I talked about this a little bit in my Muhammad Ali episode, it was probably one of the biggest changes in my whole life. Where I latched on to certain things to cope, I think, with having moved. One of them being martial arts, the other being skateboarding. And I had this horrible, nasty attitude about myself, too, when I finally started to look into skateboarding. Like, what's a skateboarding trick? An ollie. How do you do an ollie? I might have watched skate videos first, just by randomly searching them. One of the very first skate videos I ever saw, and I'll have to look this up, was a skateboarding video called Gangster Skaters versus Punk Skaters. Let's see if this video still exists. Yep, 13 years ago. And, oh my gosh, dude. And I watched that video over and over again because it just had the sickest lines. Gangsters and punk skateboarders, But this did open my world up to skateboarding, and it made me see how many different people did, or different kinds of people did skateboard, that there were. Because when I did think of skateboarding, I probably did think more of like punk or grunge or gothy or whatever, something like that. But, when I did see this video to see like black people skating, because it's stereotypes. There's like some white gangster skaters too, but they shows a lot of black skaters like Antoine Dixon and stuff when it does gangster skaters versus punk skater. But to even see like, black people and different kind of people who are dressing differently skateboard really opened my eyes to like, well, how big it is, and just kind of like what the community is like, maybe, I feel like when I got into skateboarding, it just really opened up my mind in general, man. Anyways, there's so much to talk about. That video really got me started. It got me excited because I was like watching these people just do these insane lines, what they call lines. When a line is when you do a series of tricks. Okay, so let's say you start off on the sidewalk. You're rolling on the sidewalk, ollie off the curb, all right? And you're getting filmed usually, you don't have to be, film a line, but that's what people do in skate videos. They just film lines. That's like your scene is your line, and so you're still going after you ollie off the curb. That's the first trick in your line. Then you do a flat ground pop shove it, and then maybe you ollie back onto the sidewalk, and there's a stair at the end of the sidewalk, and then you do a kick flip down the stair, boom, and then you ride away in the sunset, boy. That's like a 4-trick line right there. Yeah, 4. Yeah, dude. And just seeing these people do these consecutive tricks, one after the other, and then just like riding away, bro. It was something about it that just really appealed to me. And so I ended up, being like, okay, looking up different, I guess, skate brands probably. I can't exactly remember, but like I said, I had a nasty attitude about it too, in a way, because I was like, oh, I'm in Missouri now. Nobody skateboards in Missouri. That was a California thing, and I'm from California. And I kind of wanted just to stick with myself with it. I did meet a couple people that were into skateboarding, but for the most part, it was a really personal thing for me. And I ended up discovering Tim O'Connor of Habitat, and he was like the first name to skateboarding I could pin to besides Tony Hawk. And I was like, that's my favorite skater. I like Habitat. That's my favorite brand. And although Habitat is still my favorite today, and here's my current deck. Shoot, I'll have to edit it in. It's not in here right now. But I do currently have a Mark Sushi 7.75 skateboard deck with the Spitfire wheels and the Spitfire bearings and the Thunder trucks. And I've had it for like 4 or 5 years and it's barely been touched. I've been using it more recently. And we'll talk about it. But yeah, so I discovered Habitat. And there's something about, I'm such a sucker for certain things, aesthetics, and I don't know. I call it marketing. I like packaging, imagery, and Habitat has this whole animal feel to it, like elephants and, I don't know, this like, almost like this African feel to it, and I really like that. It really appealed to me. And so today it's still my favorite brand. They've always had a banging team. I don't know now, but there used to be like David Gonzalez and Stefan Janowski was a killer, straight killer, but there was something chill about the vibes with Habitat also. I mean, they were not huge big bangers, like doing 18 stairs and stuff like that. It was a lot of a chiller vibe, I felt like, and still feel like. So I, found out about this brand Habitat and Tim O'Connor, and I immediately was like, I want a better board, this crown board. I realized it seems like a cheap knockoff. I was 15 at the time, and so I ordered a Habitat complete board online. It was a 7.5, I believe, and I thought that was so good for me, and then I realized how kind of small that was. That was a pretty tiny board, man. But I got this board, and I looked up how to do an ollie. I think I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do an ollie first, but it eventually led me to a forum called Skateboard City. Haven't visited it in years and years and years, but again, that really got me into the whole community of skateboarding as well. Just talking with different people, especially older people who have been skateboarding for a long time, you just notice the differences in mentality. Because when I first really got into skateboarding, what appealed to me, a lot of it was the style, it made me want to wear some skinny jeans, and I got super obsessed with what brands were skateboarding brands. And this is a very kid-like mentality, a very immature kind of way, to look at things, I think. And that's with anything. Kids, younger people are more worried about how they look and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I still was committed to throwing myself downstairs and doing tricks and things like that, but I was very much so into the style of it as well. And I learned about all that through this forum. And so I got, my Habitat board. I'm looking at how to do an ollie. I learned that you need certain shoes to skateboard as well. And again, being, having, gotten really into Jackass and, I was really into Steve-O. And Steve-O around this time had his own skateboarding shoe brand called Snow Shoes. Sneaux. Again, I wonder if it's still around. I remember the commercials for it and everything were really rad. And yeah, so I remember I had 2 pairs of snowshoes. One that was just all white and another pair that was like green and white with like a yellow logo. That kids in school made fun of me because they said it looked like someone peed on my shoes. But I didn't care because I was a skateboarder. Yeah, dude. So I had my snowshoes, my Habitat board, I had the poser set. But I looked up how to do an ollie. And then, so when I looked into how to do skateboarding tricks, that's what, I don't know, became really mind-blowing. Because if you're not a skateboarder and you just see people jumping on skateboards and stuff, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, even me, like, thinking about it, like, before I ever looked up tricks, dude, skateboarders doing tricks looked magical. I was like, there's got to be glue, there's got to be Velcro on their feet or something. That's how they're getting the board to come up, right? That's like, I had no idea. And so as I'm learning how to do an ollie, you learn, and I would watch videos doing step by step. You learn like the physics of it, man. There's so much physics in it. I can't believe actually somebody found out how to do tricks on a skateboard, because you have to, you can't do it by accident, I don't think. You can't just jump and it jumps with you. It's nothing like that. Skateboards do have grip tape, and that does help out, but really, I'm going to tell you all how to do an ollie. let's do an ollie, folks. I might edit in some video here. I don't know, but my tricks are rusty and crusty and gross though, so I better not. But in ollie, what you do step by step is you have to first pop the tail down and get the nose to get up. And you have to jump at the same time. But at the same time, you got to take your front foot and slide it up the grip tape and jump at the same time. The sliding up of your foot with popping and jumping is what gets your board to get up. And then you got to level out your legs when you're jumping in midair, and then you come down. That is an ollie. When I learned that step by step, my mind was blown. There's probably a part of me that thought I could never do that. And when I started trying, it really hit hard. I really got discouraged a lot. I didn't probably land my first ollie for a few months into skateboarding. And I was reading things from people saying like, oh yeah, finally after 2 weeks, landed my first ollie. And here I was like 2 months and still couldn't land one. I got discouraged quite a bit. But something about skateboarding, something about it, man, makes you want to do it. Like when you can't do it, it makes you want to do it even more. And maybe that's just a certain person's mentality. That's not really my mentality. Maybe in some ways it is. I'm a bit competitive. I don't like to see myself lose or fail at something. So maybe that has something to do with it. But I kept at it. I remember, oh man, I wish I could find this old MySpace picture. Actually, it might have been a Facebook picture. Maybe one of my first Facebook pictures I ever posted back in like 2008. It was like 25 degrees outside, man. And I was like, bro, I'm going to go out and practice an ollie. I got like bundled up in like 3 coats or whatever, and had my skinny jeans on, bro, and my snowshoes. I remember I took a picture in the mirror like a little teenage girl. And I was like, yeah, dude, gonna go out skateboarding like 20 degrees. Yeah. And I was so excited to do it. Skateboarding brought that out of me, man. And just by doing that every day, practicing, little by little, just that jump and sliding the foot out, jumping, slide the foot up, jumping, slide the foot up. Man, I managed to start finally, it's sad you think I would remember the first ollie I ever landed. But I don't remember. I'm sure I was fairly excited, and I probably kept trying to do it over and over again. And I bet you it was the tiniest, crappiest little ollie. But man, eventually I did it, and eventually I saw if you kept doing it every day, like my ollies got better, and I was so excited, man. And so then I started to try to ollie while moving, push my skateboard a little bit, then ollie. We had this house in the back, it was like the back driveway, and then there was like a little lift or a little like curb that you'd step up onto to get into the back door. And I started riding up to it and trying to ollie on top of it, and that became one of the most frustrating things to me ever, because I remember I would practice for like an hour or so and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and just never getting it. I couldn't even ollie onto a simple curb, But through all these things of just trying, like I never practiced something so much before, I was playing football at the time as well, and I was just not nearly into it as much as skateboarding. In fact, I was doing martial arts as well, and even that was barely rivaling skateboarding. And finally, when I quit martial arts, it was just all about skateboarding, man. There's something about it that really wanted to make me stick with it, and I really loved it. And especially when I finally landed my first ollie, I got it. There's nothing more satisfying, man, than finally landing a trick that you've been practicing and doing, trying to do every day, man. Skateboarding is a wild thing because you could see how to do something and watch it so closely, but if your legs and your body aren't used to making those movements and things, you realize just how difficult it is. And trying to do something that you can visualize in your head, but your body just can't recreate, and you're trying to do it over and over and over again, can be one of the most discouraging, most frustrating things of all time. But then somehow, magically, dude, you do it. You land it. And you're like, whoa! You're like, how did I do that? And then you try to do it again, and you can't do it again, until maybe 2 days later. And then you do it again, and then it just gets easier and easier. when I noticed that progression, I think that it really affected me in a way. I think it's still has affected me to this day. I can't apply it to too much back then because I was only into skateboarding, It's not like I was also, I was in school, but I wasn't really trying in school. It's not like I was like, oh man, skateboarding taught me that you just need to, commit and keep trying and trying and trying and you'll succeed. I'll apply that to my school work. No, I didn't. I still did terrible in school. I didn't care about school. I wanted to be a skateboarder. And there were thoughts, at the time, this is about now 15, 16 years old, right? 2008, 2009, where I wanted to be maybe a professional skateboarder. I started looking at all the more brands and things. I just started to grow more. I started to realize what, you like I said, once you get inside the community, you learn little things like you learn, Vans, maybe not Vans. Vans have been around a long time. Okay, I'm not going to call you a poser if you wear Vans, because people still, to this day, swear by Vans as good skateboarding shoes. But you just see so many people who don't skate wear them. So they just seem poserish. So maybe not Vans, but I learned that DC shoes, dude, back in the day, like around 2009, huge poser shoe, bro. Huge poser shoe. I stayed far away from DC shoes. And although later on, Chris Cole magically weirdly signed with them for some weird reason, DC was a poser brand, bro. It was a Rob Dyrdek Monster Energy drink douchey brand. I still don't care for it. And I think they went out of business finally. Thank goodness, bro. Just horrible shoes. I never met a decent human being that wore DCs. What is wrong with me? I'm just kidding. I knew lots of decent people. And skateboarders, real skateboarders wore DCs. I'm just saying, though. You learn about the other brands, though. You learn about America, bro. You learn about Lakai. You learn about Fallen. You learn about all these other brands that are strictly. You only know about them if you skateboard. You only do. So, man, I just started, getting more into it, going to the skate shop and things like that, and looking at everything that they got, looking at way more skate videos, This is when I started to get into Baker, the Baker Boys, Andrew Reynolds, Aaron, I was about to say Aaron Hernandez. Man, I'm forgetting all these skateboarders' names. The whole Baker team, Antoine Dixon, Terry Kennedy, people like that. And anyways, yeah, I started, looking at skate videos where people are doing big, huge tricks, and it just got even more exciting to me and stuff like that, and made me want to try harder and push myself more, and it just, in 2009 when I turned 16, and everything just got bumped up in skateboarding, dude, and I got myself a pair of Jamie Thomas Fallen shoes. They were called Chiefs. Pretty powder blue. They were so pretty, bro. Oh man, of course I ripped them to shreds. Hey, baby girl.
Oh, my tablet's not working.
Uh-oh, hold on. Tablet's not working. Gotta restart our tablet. And so I started going to like ccs.com and just again, I got really into the merchandise and the style of everything, but also it was like, you'd read like, reviews of like, this skate shoe has great grip and super good durability. This skate shoe isn't as good, but it's super comfortable. So I would want to try out all the different, shoes and all that and stuff. So in different types of skateboards and skateboard brands. So, my habitat started to chip away. So I discovered Plan B. And so this switched my favorite skateboarder to Mr. Paul Rodriguez Jr. Still today, my favorite skateboarder. I follow him on Instagram. He absolutely shreds. He's a part of Primitive Skateboards now. He's been on Nike skateboarding shoes for a long time. He was one of the first big skaters to join Nike skateboarding because they popped up around 2007, I think, as well. And a lot of people were in the skateboard community were a little bit about Nike, getting into the skateboard game. But I've had one pair of Nike skateboarding shoes. People still swear by them, I think, They're good skate shoes. Nike, of course, would make good skate shoes. They're probably still made in sweatshops, by little Chinese fingers. But Adidas is another one that got into the game, and Adidas are great. I have another pair of Adidas right now, and I've been skating in them more, and they're amazing. They're wonderful. But it's about that, trying different brands and talking to people about it. Again, the community. I realized how wonderful the skateboarding community kind of was. There weren't just, there were some jerks in there, but a lot of them weren't, man. And that's not to say, though, there wasn't a little part of me that was a jerk during this time, because there was, but also I was really having fun, dude. It really just, man, it was just so fun. I was having fun being a 16-year-old and just being bad, you know. I would just purposely skateboard places I wasn't supposed to skateboard just to see if somebody would kick me out, you know. I was kicked out of a mall one time, and I just thrived in that. I loved it, you know. I love when people kick me out, bro. It's fun. You know, I loved it all. But that's, you know, a lot of people, again, older skateboarders, they look down upon that because that kind of gives skateboarding a bad name. That's why people think of badly of skateboarding, because of punky, stupid skateboarders who, you know, purposely break the rules. But that's kind of a part of it too, man. The rebellion of it, man, the freedom of it, the free will of it, you know. What I loved about skateboarding so much was that you could watch one skateboarder and they do all these big tricks and kickflips downstairs and stuff like that, and you know, maybe that's what you want to do. You want to go big. But then, I mean, you'd watch somebody like Dennis Busenitz of Adidas, and he just likes to just skateboard on the sidewalks and just pop an ollie, you know, or Mark Gonzalez, you know, who just likes to skate really, really fast, you know, and do a big ollie down the sidewalk and stuff like that. And you know, there's so many different styles of skateboarding. You know, you could literally do whatever you want. The creativity in it, you know, of just skating by a parking lot and looking at a parking lot and being like, bro, you know, riding past like a parking lot or something like that and looking at it and being like, yo, think I could shove it over that, you know, over that little parking curb, you know. Or you'd see a bank, you know, you see a bank going up, and I loved banks too. You start to see certain things that are just everyday construction, and you look at them differently, like a bank, you know, like just something that slants up a hill, you know, that's made for skateboarding in my eyes, bro. You go up the bank, pop a trick, and then ride back down. It's kind of like a little ramp, pretty much. I loved doing that stuff, man. I used to have so many little skate videos because I got when one of the iPods came out that lets you record videos, like the first one, and I got it. I started setting it up and just everywhere I went and just record myself doing lines, man. I used to have tons of skate videos until I lost that iPod. So I wish I could show them, man. I had some gnar stuff, bro. There was 4 sets. There was like some 4 stairs. I've never done anything bigger than a 4 set of stairs, I'll admit it. But there was 2 that I've done in my whole life, man, that I recorded. Like I said, I would find these spots around town and be like, I'm doing a trick off that. There was a big drop-off next to a little tiny 2-stair at this fire station. And I was like, I'm doing a trick off that. I think I ollied the 2-step, and I actually did a pop shove it off the drop-off, man. And it was a good, decent size. And I recorded it. And I remember there was a guy across the street watching me. And when I landed, he's like, yeah, there you go. It was so exciting, bro. I had that on video. Oh, my gosh. There was another 4-stair by a school that I would look at all the time and be like, bro, I don't think I could do it. I'm gonna try one day. And as I got better at skateboarding, I eventually visited it. And it took me like maybe 2 different days of going there and trying to ollie this 4-stair, man. And you had little runway. You'd ollie the 4-stair, land, and then you had 2 seconds of riding before you slammed into the school doors. And I did it, bro. I did it. And I recorded it on video and everything, man. It's just like, thinking back to those things. Because when you're doing those tricks and trying them, there's so much anxiety and fear involved. But the whole point of skateboarding is overcoming that fear. Overcoming the fear of hurting yourself, overcoming the fear of failing at the trick. You visualize the trick, and you visualize yourself succeeding at the trick every single attempt, every time. You know, because the last thing you want to do is get scared in the middle of the air and kick your skateboard out or things like that. You have to commit mentally. That's the only way you're going to land a trick. And I learned that, man. I noticed that, and I'm living proof, you know, that's true. Never have I ever done anything else in my life where I showed progression and I showed myself I could get better at something. Never in my life. In school, in anything else, man. In writing, like what I do right now, I'm probably as bad of a writer as I was 8 years ago when I started writing, you know, scripts and things like that. I see no progression there. Maybe there is, but skateboarding really, I mean, it was the physical evidence was there when you finally landed a trick that you've been committing to. There was no better feeling in the world. So this was like 2009, into 2010, 16 to 17 years old. I got really into Plan B. I got really into Paul Rodriguez. I got my first Plan B board. It was a Jeremy Rogers board, which I don't really care for Jeremy Rogers, but it was a pretty, again, like blue skateboard. I chose red grip tape, which is a terrible thing to do. Don't get colored grip tape. I can't remember the wheels and trucks that I did because this was my first one where I actually picked out all the parts of it and made my own complete set. Non-complete deck. That board ended up breaking within like 2 or 3 months, but that's just how hardcore skating I was doing. I ended up getting a Chris Cole Zero board after that, which lasted like 4 or 5 months. That was an amazingly sturdy board. That board was hard to break. Eventually I did snap it, I think doing a pop shove it up a bank. And I think all I did was break the nose of it, though. That board never broke in the middle. My Plan B broke in the middle. But these are all the things that go along with skateboarding, too. There's little rituals and stuff. When you snap your skateboard, specifically in the middle, it is your duty to put, as the, skater, to put that, your lovely skateboard out of misery. As much as you don't want to, it's up to you, man, to finish breaking it. So if you got a little snap in the middle, you had to go over and stomp on it, bro, and stomp on it until you could break it in half, because it was done, and that was the way to put it out of its misery. That was the send away for skateboards. That was its funeral. You broke it. You snapped it even more after it broke. You had to finish the breaking. And so that's what I did with my Plan B. I could not break my Zero, and after that I got a Mark Gonzalez crooked board. Oh my gosh, here it is. One of the sexiest boards I've ever owned. I guess that's supposed to be Mark Gonzalez. If you don't know Mark Gonzalez, he is a legend. He's been skating since like the 80s, since like Rodney Mullen, before Tony Hawk. And I could get into a little bit like the history of skateboarding. I don't want to too much. This is mostly just about my thoughts about skateboarding, how it's affected me. But Mark Gonzalez, he's an artist too. He has a whole art museum in San Francisco. He's probably like 55 years old or something, and I bet you he still shreds if I looked him up now. But Mark Gonzalez is a dope skater, one of my favorite skaters, and I knew I had learned about his crooked brand and I heard how good it was, dude. And so when I found one in the store, I was like, oh! At the skate shop, I was like, oh my gosh, give me that, and the beautiful flowers and everything. I was so stoked on this board, bro. And then he does his own artwork for his board, so that's why I brought that up. He does his own artwork, and this is just a sexy board, bro. I could not break this board for the life of me. I had this for several months, and the tail just got way worn down, and the nose started chipping, but this board is still technically skatable. I could not break it. This is an amazing board. After that one started chipping away, this was senior year in high school. Like I said, I was into other brands like America, Jerry Sue, one of my top favorite skaters of all time, skated for America and Enjoy. Marquise Preston, one of the best skate videos I've ever seen in my whole life is America Gold, Stay Gold. One of the best skate videos I've ever seen in my life, and again, just totally inspired me, bro. Baker 3 is an amazing video that inspired me a lot that I watched over and over again. I still have never tried a Baker board, but there's still time. So around senior year of high school, I'll admit I got into some other things, and I remember talking to people, man, and again, this has to do with how I'm older now and how I really don't want to give up skating, because I would talk to people, man, and even like people like my age, like 18 at the time and stuff. And they would, I remember kids would take my skateboard and like do a kickflip or a tray flip or something, and be like, oh yeah, I used to skateboard and then I stopped, a few years ago. I'd be like, what? You were doing tray flips and you stopped? Why? I'd be like, I would die to do that kind of trick, And I just didn't understand the concept of stopping. Like, why would you stop? Especially when you're getting that good. And I remember one dude told me, he's like, I just started getting other things. And I learned that's the sad fact of life. Sometimes you're really into something for a couple years, especially me, and then it stops becoming as interesting. I will tell you what started my downfall and why I slowly stopped skateboarding. And this was another thing that I had read about happening, and I just was like, that's not going to happen to me. But I got into some drugs. I started doing some drugs, man. And not just weed. I was doing drugs that made me feel incredibly awful and hungover the next day. And so the more I did these drugs, I was like, I can't skateboard. I'm like hungover, bro. I can't skateboard. I feel like crap today. And so the skating was less and less. I also had a thing where I was like, I can never skateboard high. I can never mix drugs and skating because it might ruin skating for me forever. I did one time, and it didn't ruin skating for me, but again, it limited, as I did the drug more, it limited, I was like, well, I can't skate today because I'm doing the drug, and I can't skate tomorrow because I'm going to be hungover from the drug. So that's 2 days this week that I can't do skating, and if I were to do that drug 2 days later, well, there's like 4 days of the week right there, so that's kind of what happened, and I did let that get in the way of skateboarding, man. I did, and that's the sad fact that I have to face now. I probably would have denied it up and down back then, but I did start skating less and less, and I think it was because I started getting to this particular drug that I'll talk about maybe on another episode. And so, so my senior year of high school, I was still kind of skating around. I got one of my friends into skateboarding, so we would go skate around. I wasn't trying stairs and stuff as much, but I was trying to kick flips. That's where I kind of got to. I got pop shove-its down real good. I remember landing my first pop shove-it ever. It was amazing. It became one of my favorite tricks ever. I still love pop shove-its. They just look dope. I don't know. They're so simple looking, but they're so dope. I landed an inward heel flip by accident trying to do heel flips. I never could land that again. I also got really into switch and nollie tricks. Hold on. Sorry. Kind of interrupted. This is recorded way later. But yes, I was talking about switch and nollies. I don't know. But I got really into switch skating, which is basically like switching from like your right hand to your left hand or right hand or whatever, like ambidextrous or something. Because I actually skate goofy, and goofy is where you put your front foot, your right foot is your front foot in front, and your left foot pushes, and that's your back foot. That's actually how like left-handed people are supposed to skate, which is weird because I'm right-handed. But I've also been told the way I write with my right hand is like I'm left-handed. I don't know what that means, but so in the regular way to skate is having your left foot up front and pushing with your right foot, and that's your back foot. Now, if you have your right foot in the back and you're pushing with your left foot and you put it up on the board and that becomes your front foot, that's Mongo. Don't skate Mongo. That's weird. Even weirder than Goofy. But no, I don't know. Goofy always that's how I started skating. That's how I kind of thought you were supposed to do it. That's what felt natural to me. But I got really into the style of switch skating and, like I said, nollie skating, which is like doing a trick backwards, basically. Like you're riding Goofy, and then you slide your feet while you're still riding and do like a regular ollie while riding, like basically backwards. I got really into those kinds of tricks because of my favorite skater, Paul Rodriguez, which I did meet one time at the Summer Street League by Rob Dyrdek. I don't know. It was like the first one they ever had. Sean Malto was there of Kansas City. Nigel Houston won the whole thing back when he was like 16 years old, man. And yeah, got a picture with my favorite skater. But yeah, he got me, because Paul Rodriguez is just a slayer of nollie and switch tricks. So, started teaching myself, like a nollie and like how to, switch ollie and then besides landing one kickflip one time several years ago, kind of ended my skating days in a way, but also hasn't. I don't know. It's something obviously that's still, a part of me. Every once in a while, I'll try to look up some skate videos and see who the newest thing is, That guy who got Skater of the Year, like last year, the year before, something, he really shreds. I forget his name.
And I'm trying to kind of get back into it, you know, more for like the health reasons. I want to stay in shape. As I'm becoming an old man, turning 30 soon in a few years, which is soon to me. And so it's, you know, I'm not taking it real serious where I'm trying desperately to learn new tricks and progress and things like that. It's a lot more chill, you know, ride around, just ollie around and stuff like that. And try to at least, you know, keep those skate legs a-going. So, yeah. And that's pretty much my history with skateboarding. It's still, I guess I would call it a passion of mine. It's impacted me greatly. I'm very grateful to have gotten into it, you know. It's weird the things that you just get into in life. You know, like I said, I never thought I'd get into skateboarding, you know. You never know what you're looking at. You see something or somebody doing something one day, and, you know, you just kind of think of it nonchalantly, like, oh, they're doing that thing. Oh, they're taking a picture of a tree. Wow, cool. And then all of a sudden, years later or months later, like, you pick up a camera or, you know, you start, you know, taking pictures and start up photography and you get obsessed with it or something, you know, or just anything like that. It's pretty amazing. And I'm glad I found skateboarding. It's I think it's positively impacted my life, and I highly recommend, if you're able and healthy, you know, give it a try, give it a shot, because skateboarding is for everyone, no matter, you know, what gender, what race, ethnicity, or anything like that. Skateboarding is really for everyone, and I don't know, I think it's a good thing. I think Jerry Seinfeld said one time in an episode of Comedians Getting Coffee, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, he said, skateboarders, look at them, and I think they're going to be okay. Because they're always falling and, you know, getting back up, trying to trick again. Yeah, man. Always get back on that skateboard. This has been Deep Thoughts. Hope you all have a wonderful day. I got to get going to work soon. Remember to think freely, think often. Love you guys. See you next time.